G'day, guys. Welcome to episode 20 of the Cowboys TV podcast. And as always, joined by Callan's calling. Hello, Callan.
How you going, Nick?
I'm not too bad. How about yourself?
Yeah, good, mate.
It's good to see you. Obviously, you've been in a good mood today with Queensland winning last night.
Yeah. With all the adversity, it was and Dearden shining, getting the ultimate prize. Yeah, it was pretty special.
Man of the match, Wally Lewis medal. Tommy Dearden, absolutely outstanding for Queensland last night. Hopefully, he can bring that form to the Cowboys and just help us get enough wins to make the top 8. Obviously, his form has been great all year at the Cowboys, but if he plays like the way he did last night for Queensland for the Cowboys every week, then fair income. The Cowboys will be a top 4 side, honestly, the way he played last night. Episode 20, guys. Obviously, apologies about last week. We had a few issues go on. I was in the hospital for a couple hours on Wednesday, and then there was just distractions happened last week. So that's why the podcast was off last week, but it's all right. We're back, episode 20. So don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you check out Callan's channel as well. Callan's calling. The link to his channel is in the description box down below. But yeah, like and subscribe, guys. That's the important part. Hello to the live chat, as always. Hello to Jason Reeder, one of the loyal supporters and one of the moderators. Hello to Luke, Melbourne Storm fan. Jeffrey. Hello to River. Hello to Will. Hello to everyone that's watching. Hello to Ray in the live chat as well. Watch this every week. Great stuff. Appreciate the kind words, mate. Anyway, Callan, what have you made of the last fortnight of the Cowboys? We had a nice win on the Gold Coast. 30-24, and then we had a rough loss against the Storm last week in controversial circumstances, in my opinion, 26-20. What have you made of the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, massive improvements. I was quite happy with their effort on Saturday.
Yeah.
I thought errors cost us. I think they cost us dearly. And, just talking off air, I believe we only had to defend or not cause a couple of errors and we probably win the game.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone that tuned into my channel and watched the live stream on Saturday night and the review I did Sunday night, everyone knows how pissed off I was about the refereeing. And to be fair, I haven't blamed match officials for any of our losses this season. Obviously, I was very pissed off about the Broncos game. But last week against Melbourne, that was the first time all year where I have blamed the referee on the result. I know the errors were disappointing. I know defense is still a problem, but there were 3 or 4 calls in that game where I just felt like it just completely changed the game. The Bronson Garlic penalty, I thought that was a disgrace. Cohen S hits him in the back of the shoulder. Garlic lays down like a coward. It was one of the worst milk penalties I've ever seen. I thought it was disgraceful. It wasn't in the spirit of the game whatsoever. There was another one there. I think it was the Nelson try where Eli Katoa knocked the ball on. Referee called 6 again. 2 tackles later, Nelson went over and scored. And then I think there was another knock on before. So when Melbourne went up 20-18 after the Bronson Garlic penalty, Robert Derby knocks the ball backwards off the bomb. They called knock on. we don't have a chance left. Melbourne ended up scoring next set. I just felt like there were so many things that went against us. I know there were a lot of things that we did wrong that were shocking, but I just felt like we were really hard done by. I know everyone's probably happy with the effort, considering who we had out, but I don't know about you, Callan. I just felt like we were hard done by, and the 50-50 calls went to the Storm.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I'm never happy that we're on the wrong end of these decisions, but we can be better, and that's that's all. I harp on this. I look at things that you can change or you can control, and not causing errors that they're in our control. We'll never be able to control what the referee's going to do, and unfortunately, we seem to be on the wrong end of it. And you throw errors in with a couple of tough decisions, well, it makes it really difficult.
Especially when the game is leveled up or we're down by 2 points. And, if we've made 11 or 12 errors in 65 minutes and then a 50-50 call goes against you, and then it just affects the team, and the mindset and the attitude just becomes a different thing, and it's frustrating. And you're right. It'd be nice to get some of the 50-50 calls our way, but it just wasn't to be.
And that compounds, like every error, it compounds. So you don't have the ball, well, there's more chance of you giving away penalties. And so you give more and more ball away, well, there's more and more chances to have, like you say, those 50-50 or just any infringement, you're getting tired.
Yeah.
So you go back to the try and eliminate errors. Like I know, obviously I know that this would be their mindset. I know they would be, in their match review, they'd be talking about it. And we hope this week we get less errors. And I think we're on the verge of really clicking, getting back to that four game winning streak.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been signs of it the last few weeks of our attack and everything. Like, we get everyone back this week almost. I mean, or not everyone. I know we've got a few injuries, and we'll get to that pretty soon. But all the Origin players are backing up on Saturday night. We've got a few guys coming back. We should get a few more back next week. Tamalolo is going to be very close, apparently, next week. So, fingers crossed. We'll get to the injury toll. I know Bateman, McIntyre are out. I know Talangi is very questionable for Saturday night. There's a few guys carrying injuries at the moment, but if we can get back to as full strength as possible, we have the ability to go on a bit of a run here and make a run for the finals. I think we're only about 2 games out anyway, so all it takes is 2 wins and you're back with everyone else in that whole logjam. So it needs to start this week, in my opinion. Now, obviously, we got to win in round 17 over the Titans on the Gold Coast. That, again, not the most convincing win. It was a weird game, that one. We led 12-6, and then we got out to a 24-6 lead, and it looked like we are going to put 30-40 on the Titans. And then they got back in the game, and we ended up hanging on in the end, 30-24. What'd you make of that game the other week against the Titans?
Yeah, it was like we just, I don't know, put the cue in the rack. It was like we underestimate what any team can do at any point in the game, and you just can't. You got to play for the 80 minutes. It was a weird sort of a game.
The Titans game, it was like the first 25 minutes was all us, 12-0 up, and then they got one before half time. Then the second half started and it was all us again. We got out to 24-6, and like you said, it felt like the players put the cue in the rack and they were, oh, this is going to be a walkover. This is going to be an easy win. And then we let the Titans back in the game a little bit. I wasn't ever concerned that we were going to lose the game from the way it was going. I felt like we were always going to win, but we definitely like the game was a lot. It was too close for our liking. We're up. Obviously, Drinkwater scored that try with about 8 to go, 30-18. You're probably thinking we'll just run away with it now, and then they scored again with like 5 to go, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, why can't we just hold them out? What are we doing? So, look, not a convincing win, but a win that we needed to get, and I'm really glad we got the win there against the Titans. That was a big one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then obviously the Melbourne game, we were probably the better team. I know we had a lot of errors, and obviously I'm whinging about the refereeing and whatnot, but I thought we were the better team. Even though we lost, I felt like we were the better side on the night.
Yeah, I thought so. That's what even made it a little bit harder, but not like some of these wins have just been, make me feel
ugly.
Make me feel just very depressed. I could hold my head up and go back to the leagues club and go and talk to the players without, because I don't feel that good. And I think to myself, it's one of the reasons I don't go to the leagues club after a loss is I think
it's a shit feeling.
They don't want to, they don't want to be there. They're there because they've got commitments to be there.
Yeah.
And, everyone running up and, what do you say? Like, oh, how you going, mate? Can I get a photograph? And want them to smile and put on a happy face because you want a bloody photo with it.
Well, I've been to Townsville 3 times. I've been there for 2 wins, and I've been there for 1 loss. And when I went back there, actually, I think you came back with me for a little bit. The Sharks game, we went back there after the game, and it was just a yuck feeling because of how we got flogged and everything. It was just the yuck. It wasn't a good feeling. It really wasn't.
Yeah.
And I completely understand now why people don't want to go there after a loss because it's tough. If it's a close loss, it probably doesn't feel as bad to go back. Like, all right, they had it go. It was a close game. But if you get flogged, it's like, ugh, don't want to go back there. I really don't want to go back there. But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. Well, let's move on from those 2 games the last fortnight, and we've got some awful news. Sam McIntyre will miss 4 to 6 weeks due to the calf injury. He's tore his calf, Todd Payton was saying. McIntyre has been very good for us this season, coming off the bench as that impact forward, and he's also done well starting as well, whether it be front row, whether it be lock, whether it be back row. How much of a loss do you think Sam McIntyre is going to be for us, Callan?
Yeah, I think he'll be a big loss. He's one of them guys that, like you said, he comes off the bench, he fills multiple roles, he starts when we're missing someone. He's just a bit of a Mr. Fix-It.
Yeah, and he's a good worker. He works his ass off. He goes really well. I've been pretty happy with McIntyre this year. I thought last year he had a great year, and I think this year he's probably gone just as good. So Really impressed with Sam McIntyre. He's going to be a bit of a blow for a few weeks. So Tamalolo could be back next week, which will be a good replacement. But until then, we're just going to settle with what we've got. So hopefully the boys, or whoever's like, hopefully the guys who are coming in can do a great job. So definitely going to be a bit of a blow there for a few weeks. Also, the other one, John Bateman, he had a scan on his groin and he's going to miss this week, next week probably as well. I think he's back for the Dragons game. Could be a chance next week, but be very 50-50. Bateman's is another one. It's going to be a big loss. He's been killing it lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big blow. But, speaking of the injuries, I want to talk about it for a moment. Look at how I'm not making excuses. I know we've got injuries. Every club does, but I feel like the injuries are starting to affect us just a little bit. Talangi, 50-50 this weekend. Bateman's out. McIntyre's out. Tamalolo's out. Vialia is out. Obviously, Semi Volame, who a lot of people have been asking about, where's Semi Volame? He's actually injured his jaw, so he's not even available. Obviously, Chester and Lukey are out to next year, but the injury toll, Callan, it's starting to add up a little bit.
Oh yeah, I reckon we would have limped through if we didn't make those position changes. Now we're trying to come back and gel to what was working.
Yeah,
I think we'll, coinciding with Origins always going to be difficult. Like you said, we've sort of just been getting by, and so it'd be good to get Tamalalo back and the Origin boys back and getting that familiar team on the field.
100%. Well, really, if you have a look at it, yes, we've got good cover play, good cover depth in certain positions, but if you look at that injury toll, the casualty ward, Talangi's a regular starter on the wing. Bateman's a regular starter on the right edge. McIntyre starts quite a bit in the middle. Tamalolo usually starts as well when he's there. And Vialia is our right centre. So there's 5 guys that are usually starting in our team. Or at least 4 of them always start and one of them's coming off the bench. So it doesn't help when you've got 4 of your best starting players out. So it's a bit of a problem, and hopefully the other guys who are coming in, obviously we'll get to the team in a minute with Braden Burns coming in and Thomas McKaylee. Hopefully they all do a good job because we're going to need them to step up.
Yeah, 100%. And I hope they relish the opportunity.
I hope so as well. I really hope so. Now, speaking of the team, we might as well talk about it. So, obviously, now everyone's expected to back up. I don't believe anyone got injured last night from the Cowboys. I think everyone's good to go. So, everyone should be right for Saturday night. So, the team is named. It is Scotty Drinkwater at fullback. Robert Derby and Braden Burns are on the wings. Purdue and Laidbutt are in the centres. Clifford and Dearden are in the halves. McLean and Griffin Neem in the front row. Robertson at hooker. Cotter and Nanai in the back row. Harrison Edwards at lock. And the bench is Kyle Lawton, Thomas McKaylee, Kai O'Donnell, and Cohen Hess. Now, I'm a little bit surprised to see Ruben Cotter named in the back row. I didn't expect to see that, Callan.
Yeah.
I know he did a great job at Origin last night in the back row. Cotter was outstanding, but I didn't expect to see him in the back row for the Cowboys.
No, me either.
So he'll play
I
on
think
the
it
right
could.
edge. He'll be defending William and Kickout on Saturday night. So obviously the Bulldogs, they love the left side with Burton, Kickout, Sherry, and Montoya. Or Tuala, sorry. So maybe Cotter's on that edge to try and defend Kickout. Maybe that's the reason.
He might move too.
What do you
Kai
mean?
O'Donnell might come on,
Yeah.
and then he might go back into the front row or the lock.
It does look like that Ruben Cotter will play probably half an hour in the back row, then go to the middle while Donald comes on, plays on the edge, and Cotter goes back through the middle, and you probably see Harrison Edwards or Griffin Neame go back to the bench or something, I imagine.
Yeah.
But what's your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the side overall?
Good. I'm quite happy with it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with it as well. Murray Talangi, apparently, so I was listening to what Peyton was saying about it on Tuesday. He said he's going to do some running, I think it was today, and he's going to give him up until Saturday if he's good to go or not. Do you think he plays, Talangi? I don't think he will.
Nah, I don't think so.
He's been carrying an injury for a while. I think it's his ankle or it's his foot. It's one of them, ankle or foot. I'm not exactly sure which one, but he was out for a couple of weeks with it. Then he came back. And then last week, apparently, when the game was over, he was limping on it pretty bad. And yeah, that's why he's named in the reserve. So I'm not sure if he'll play. Personally, I'd give him a rest and just let him recover and bring him back next week against the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'd do the same. Braden Burns, he's
He'll do a job.
he's doing a good job. We know what he can do, and I think he played better than he did the first game back.
Yes.
So yeah, we like the meters that he was running in the first couple of games. I think he more meters than anyone.
I think we spoke about it when we were in Sydney for the Roosters Cowboys game, or it might have been in the green room. But Braden Burns in the centers, like apparently that's his primary position. But every time he plays there, he doesn't play as good as what he has on the wing. Braden Burns on the wing, I reckon that's his position. He's been killing it on the wing, and I'm not taking nothing away from Robert Derby. I think he's a fantastic talent, but Braden Burns last week, I thought he was a lot better than what Robert Derby was. I thought Burns was outstanding, and if Burns has another big game, and obviously Talangi coming back next week, Payton's got a tough decision to make there between Burns and Derby.
Yeah.
Because Derby, you're making a lot of errors, Derby.
Yeah. I'd stick with him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough decision for Todd to make. It's definitely a tough one. In the chat quickly, what's going on with Sammy Valamay? Valamay's got a jaw injury, injured in Queensland Cup. He is out indefinitely. I don't even think he'll be back this year, from what I've been told. So, yeah, he's out for a long time. But look, overall, I think it's a strong side. I like the team that we've named here. Obviously, great to see Drinkwater, Clifford, Did, and Robertson all in the spine. So much attack there between all of them. I've got to say, Callan, just quietly, the form of Drinkwater lately has been out of this world. He's been unbelievable the last few weeks.
Yeah. he always seems to get a little bit of same as as Clifford. They seem to cop a lot of flack, and then all of a sudden, they'll what they're capable of. That's why they're my favourite players.
Yeah.
I think to myself, am I the only one who can see the talent, or am I a fool?
Oh,
No,
well, yeah.
I actually see us going on a run. I really do.
So can I. I can see it as well. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I know we've got to win a certain amount of games to get to the top 8, but you got to remember that 1 point that we have on the ladder, which is the odd number, same as Penrith, that could be the difference on us getting in the 8 or just missing out. Because, everyone talks about, oh, your for and against is so bad. And look, we definitely agree. Our for and against is disgraceful. It's not good. But it's not going to make any difference to our at all if we make the 8 because of that odd point on the ladder. That could be the difference, honestly. But obviously, it'd be nice for the for and against to improve. But we could go on a run, and I don't want to get carried away, but we have some favourable games coming up. We do play the Dragons, who are literally in the same spot as us. That's a game that we should be able to win. We got Parramatta, who's in a game, they're going busted. The Knights are going busted. The Tigers are going terrible, although it's at Leichhardt. We don't have a good record there. They're games we need to win, and we should be winning those games. But the games that we are going to need to get, like, the Bulldogs this week's a big one for us. The Dolphins next week. The Sharks in a few weeks after that. We finish off with Brisbane at home, and we have a bye last round, which everyone keeps forgetting. That bye last round could be a big factor. So we've got some tough games, Callan, but we've got some games that we should get as well.
Yeah. If we just eliminate some of these errors, tighten up on the defence, hopefully everything starts to click and we start playing to our potential. I can see us racking up some big scores on teams.
Well, I hope you're friggin' right. I hope you're right. We haven't won a game this year, Feldane Plus, which is insane. Absolutely insane. We probably should have beat the Titans. Oh, actually, hang on. Yeah, we have. The Titans game early in the year, 50-18.
Yeah.
But we should have put the Titans 13 plus on the Gold Coast a couple of weeks ago. We should have won that game by at least 13 plus, the way it was going.
Yeah. We should never have let them back into the game.
Yeah, we shouldn't have towards the last 20 minutes or whatever it was. That was a bit annoying. But the big challenge this weekend, we've got the Bulldogs. That's going to be a really big game, a game that we can get. So it's a big one for us, especially up there in Townsville. Should be a big crowd Saturday night. I know it was 20,000 there last week, wasn't there, for the Melbourne game?
Yeah, it was a big crowd.
They should get something pretty close to that on Saturday against the Dogs. The Dogs are going through.
Yeah, I've got a couple of my friends that live in towns who are Doggy supporters.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they seem to like all the Sydney clubs. There's North Queensland being such a diverse area. There's, you always see lots of different jerseys wandering around town, and then you'll get the diehards like you and me. That travel.
Yeah.
Some people don't go to a lot of games, and going to North Queensland is a bit of a novelty to a lot of people. A bit of sunshine and a bit of warmer weather in the winter.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Now, we've got some great news to talk about. and it was announced last week. We knew this was coming. Like we spoke about it. We knew the rumors, but it's been made official. The Cowboys have signed Reed Money on a 3-year deal. I think it's a great addition to the club. Obviously, we're losing Reece Robson, and there's no doubt that is going to be a bit of a blow. But bringing in Reed Money, who is the second backup for the Queensland hooker position. Obviously, you got Harry Grant. Reed Money's right behind him. What are your thoughts on the signing of Reed Money?
Yeah, absolutely love it. I think he's going to be a great addition. I think with him we'll lose nothing. If anything, I think we might even gain. I think he's pretty dangerous, and playing with us, I think he'll have more chance of playing for Origin, playing with all the other Queensland Origin players, forming combinations with Dearden and that. I think his opportunities to go. Like you wouldn't have dreamed of a player going, you know what, I'm going to go and play for the Cowboys because I'll have more opportunity to play for Queensland.
Yeah.
It used to be the other way around. I want to win grand finals. I want to play Origin. I think I'll have more opportunity if I go here. We'll go there. Now we've got, Queensland's halfback playing in our team now.
Yeah. Well, the thing is as well, and you're right, with what Tom Dearden did last night and with a lot of our players that we have up there, times are changing when it comes to the player market. There's going to be players going to the market and they're going to be like, I could go to the Cowboys, play with the Queensland halfback. I could go play with the Queensland back rowers. I could go play with, an attacking player like Scotty Drinkwater. So, a lot of the bottom clubs really struggle to attract players, but with some of our players, likes of Dearden, Cotter, Nanai, Drinkwater, all these sort of players, we're gonna attract more players to want to come play for us now because of the players that we have.
Yeah, well, it was like Jonathan Thurston and Matty Bowen.
Yeah.
Trying to lure clubs, and that was very enticing to a lot of people. Well, it was enticing for Thurston to play with Matty Bowen and Matty Singh.
Yeah.
When he first came.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. The only concern with Reed Marnie, Callan, and I think you probably know about this, is he tends to be a little bit ill-disciplined sometimes, tends to have a bit of a little bit off attitude sometimes, a couple of penalties he gives away and whatnot. Does that concern you at all, or do you think he will clean up his act up in Townsville?
Well, I hope Peyton can, discipline him and get that out of his game. I don't think it's that hard to get people to, when you say to people like we don't tolerate that.
Yeah.
That's not going to help. Yes, we like that you get in people's face. We like that part of your game. You've got a bit of attitude, but you don't want grub play and you don't want penalties.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think the one thing I like about Reed Marnie is, look, we all know he can go over the line and push the boundary too far, but we need someone that's going to be aggressive, and we need more players like that because really we've had a lot of good forwards over the last 5 or 6 years, but they've all been a bit, not aggressive enough and not intimidating enough. But someone like a Reed Marnie who can bring that aggression into the side. It's the same with Bateman. Everyone thought Bateman was going to be a bad buy because he's, can be a loose cannon, but I think Bateman's been a bit of an enforcer, and he's done a great job. And I think Marnie, although there are negatives about it, I'm trying to look at the positives more than the negatives with Reid Marnie, and I see a guy who has potential to get better as a player. And I think, like you said, with State of Origin and everything, he's probably the second hooker behind Harry Grant. Him coming up playing with Tommy Dearden, who's the Queensland halfback now for the next probably 10 years, to be honest, after last night. I think it's going to be a good buy, and I think you'll see Reid Marnie improve a lot as a player next year.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be that iron sharpening iron. I believe will be good for him, and he'll be good for us.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think it's a great pickup. I think 3 years is a good contract for him. And to be honest, I think we're only paying about 600,000 for him, 650. So we're not paying a huge amount. It's a pretty good deal. 600, 650 for Reid Marnie. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've done well.
I think done well.
It's been a long time since we've, in my book, sort of secured someone who's, like you just said, just outside the scope for Origin.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's definitely been a while. I'm trying to remember the last guy we signed like that. Maybe Jordan McLean when he left Melbourne. It has been a while. Because Jordan McLean, when he left Melbourne in 2017, I think he played for Australia in the World Cup. I think he was starting front row for the Kangaroos.
Yeah,
and then he joined us in 2018. So, yeah, the more I think about it, I think McLean was the last big name we actually bought who was like on the cusp of, rep footy.
Yeah.
It's been a while, so fingers crossed that the signing goes well. All right. We'll get to some round 19 tips. We'll give our Cowboys Bulldogs prediction, and then me and Callan are going to answer your questions. So there's a few on Instagram I need to answer for everyone, but if you guys want to start throwing some questions in the live chat, Cowboys related for me and Callan, feel free to do so. But first, we're going to do some round 19 rugby league tipping. My tipping has gone shocking this season, I'm going to be honest. It's been tough. It's been friggin' tough. All right. So tomorrow night, Callan, we have the Sharks versus the Dolphins from Shark Park. Who do you like in this one?
I'll go the Dolphins.
I'll go the Sharks. I think it'll be a close game, though. I think it will be a close game. I'll go the Sharks. Saturday, we got the Knights up against the Storm in Newcastle.
All the Storm players backing up?
Well, they're all in the reserves, but I think Munster's not going to play.
I'll go the Storm.
I'll go the Storm.
I was thinking of maybe an upset.
Yeah.
I'll go the Storm.
Hey, I'll go the Storm as well. Dragons and the Roosters at 5:30 on Saturday at Cogra.
I'll go the Roosters.
Yeah, I'll go the Roosters in that one as well. Sunday, Warriors and the Tigers from New Zealand.
Warriors.
I'm going to go the Tigers. I'm actually going to go the Tigers. Warriors are getting a lot of injuries, and I think they're going to fall out of the top four. I really do. Sunday, Eels versus Panthers from CommBank Stadium.
Panthers.
Yeah, Panthers, surely. And then Sunday night on the Gold Coast, 6:15, the Titans and the Broncos. I'm actually going to this game.
Yeah.
My brother's a big Broncos supporter, and we're going to head up there on Sunday and watch the game. I'm going to be sitting there, not giving a crap who wins. So, yeah, it should be a good time, though. Go up there with the brother and that. Should be a good time. What do you reckon about Titans-Broncos, Callum?
I'll go the Broncos, I think.
I think the Broncos will win, but I don't think they'll win by as much as everyone's saying. I think it might be closer than people think. All right. Obviously, the big one on Saturday, Cowboys and the Bulldogs, Queensland Country Bank Stadium. If they get less than, I'll tell you this, if the crowd's less than 18,000, I'd be disappointed. This should get a good crowd.
Yeah, well, team up the top of the ladder.
Yeah, they're coming third, the Dogs.
They're well followed in Sydney at the moment, aren't they?
Yep, and this is the 30-year anniversary with the Bulldogs. We played them in our first ever game in 1995. So this is basically the 30-year anniversary of us and the Bulldogs when we debuted when the Cowboys first came in. So it's definitely got a bit of a feel to it on Saturday. But what's your prediction for the game? Give us a margin, a first try, and at any time.
Oh, I'll go Cowboys. 32.
Yeah.
To 18.
Ooh, 32-18.
Yeah.
What about the first try scorer?
First try scorer will be Purdue.
Yeah.
And anytime try scorer will be Jeremiah Nanai.
Jeremiah Nanai. I love it. I'm going to go the Cowboys by 6. I'll go something like 24-18. First try scorer, I'm going to go with Jeremiah Nanai. And anytime try scorer, former Bulldogs player, Harrison Edwards. If there's going to be a week where Harrison Edwards is going to score a try, it's going to be against his old team, the Dogs. I feel like it's a good omen. Harry Edwards, anytime try scorer against his old team, the Bulldogs. I think it's going to happen this weekend.
He's playing lock too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's starting at lock, which I think is exciting. And obviously, I'm very happy about that. You know how much I love Harrison Edwards, so I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, I think that suits him, actually, lock.
Yeah, well, I spoke to him after the Roosters game, and I asked him what his role was, because I thought he was going to play hooker, and he was playing front row in that game. And then I was like, I thought you were going to play hooker, and then he ended up playing front row. But I'm with you. I think lock's his position.
Yeah, he's got a bit of ball playing about him. He's got a little bit of nous. So I'd be, he's not slow. He can get out of the blocks pretty quick.
He's one of our best defenders. He really is.
Yeah.
If you have a look at the stats and you look at everything involved, he's one of our best defenders, Harrison. So hopefully he has a big game on Saturday against his old side. But yeah, we need to win this. We really do, because we spoke about it in the green room. If we lose on Saturday night, that Dolphins game next week up at Suncorp, that's going to be season-defining sort of stuff. Season on the line sort of stuff. So we really need to win this on Saturday, and I think we can win. The Bulldogs have been falling a little bit. They've had a few hiccups. So it's a really big game.
Galvin saga, to me, is what's disrupting the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a bit like what we did with the whole Purdue in the halves, drop Clifford, and then it sort of disrupted the entire attack. And now that we've brought Clifford back, Purdue back to centers, everything seems to be working again.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that they disrupt the halves again like they have been,
Yeah.
because I hear a lot of the journos saying put him as a as a lock, or a loose forward running
Look at Henry.
forward.
That'll probably make them worse, to be honest. All right. Couple of questions to answer. We got about 5 of them sent in here tonight, so we'll get to them. Right. First question comes from Matt from Kempsey. Should Jonathan Thurston be involved in the Cowboys coaching staff? I remember when he was involved. I think it was like 2017 when we went on that run. He wasn't even like it wasn't even a job. He was just there because he was injured. But he seems to have done a great job with Queensland. So I don't know. I don't see why not. What do you reckon, Callum?
Oh, I'd love to have him in the coaching the halves, or
Yeah,
some impact in the game somewhere, like having a full time position,
yeah, that'd be
all
good.
year. I'd absolutely love that.
I reckon that'd make a big difference to our team. Like I think that'd make a huge difference to our side. Really would. Next question comes from Carl, and he says, "Was it a mistake letting go of Kyle Felt?" I think Kyle was going anyway. I think he wanted to go to the UK. But tell you what, if you've been watching the Super League the last few weeks, I've been staying up late watching Kyle Felt's games with St. Helens, and he scored the first try in the last 2 games, and he's been killing it. He had 2 tries last week. He had a hat-trick the week before. He's in form, Felty, on the right wing. I would give up a lot to just get him back, honestly. I love him.
Yeah, I didn't want him to go, but I
Yeah,
thought the same thing. I thought he wanted to go. So I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
think he wanted. I think
I don't
so.
know if we show. I hope we didn't show him the door, because we miss him. That's for sure.
I'd be very surprised if we did show him the door. I don't think we did. I think if we did, we would have heard about it by now. I really do. I really do. A quick question from River. Nick, what is the next home game you are going to? At this stage, it'll be the Broncos game. The last game of the year at Townsville. I'd like to get to the Knights game, which is a Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock game. I'd love to get to that. I don't know if I'll be able to though, because I'll be in Sydney back-to-back weeks in round 22 and 23, and then the Knights game is round 24, so it's going to be very hard. And the Dragons game in round 21 is one that I wanted to do as well, but probably the Broncos game in the very last round for us. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Here we go. Jacko_Howard. Why is Carl Lawton in the side over Kalepo? I don't know, to be honest. What's your take on that one, Callum?
Yeah, I've got no idea.
I thought he was good on debut, Kalepo.
Yeah, I would have stuck with him.
I would have too. I would have given him one more game just to give him some more experience. And the last question comes from Thomas from Rockhampton. Was it a mistake signing Kyle Lawton? I think it was, with the way it's turned out. What do you reckon, Callum?
Yeah, well, you don't have that crystal ball, do you, to know what's going to happen. Let's hope he has a great game this weekend and says this is why you've bought me.
Yeah, I want to see him play well because holy crap, he's been definitely underwhelming. So, fingers crossed he goes well off the bench this weekend. But yeah, all right. That's all the topics. That's everything all wrapped up. Callan, thank you very much for a good show tonight. And have fun at Cowboys Bulldogs game on Saturday night.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. See you next week.
Yeah, appreciate you all. We'll be back to normal next week, back to Wednesday nights. I'll be at Brisbane next week for the Dolphins game up there at Suncorp. But thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe to the channel and check out Khan's channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you next week. Have a good night, everyone. Go the Cowboys.
Go the Cowboys.